Asni, leading MATRADE Chengdu, covering the southwestern region of China, which covers 9 provinces, including Sichuan, Chongqing, Yunnan, Gansu, Shaanxi, Xinjiang, Ningxia, Qinghai, and Tibet, complementing the other 3 MATRADE offices in mainland, Beijing, Shanghai, and Guangzhou, since October 2019. Prior to Chengdu, she holds a few different portfolios in MATRADE headquarters, including export acceleration of the ICT industry, logistics, printing and publications, as well as the main secretary of the National Export Council, which chaired by the Prime Minister of Malaysia. Puan Nur Asni has been serving the country with MATRADE for the past 15 years since 2007. Our honor to have Puan Asni joining us today. Over to you, Puan Asni.
Okay, hello everyone. Thank you, Ms. O'Neill. Distinguished speakers, ladies and gentlemen, Dajahao. It is a great honor to meet all of you virtually today, and a special thank you to P2P Talent Management for inviting MATRADE for this seminar. Next, O'Neill. Okay, basically my sharing today will be covering all these topics: market snapshot, bilateral trade, potential sectors and opportunities, as well as about MATRADE and our services. These are some of the key facts, figures of China. I won't be elaborating in details. Nevertheless, I wish to highlight on the ranking of the ease in doing business by the World Bank in year 2020. It was observed that China market is quite a challenging and complex market compared to Malaysia. China was ranked by the World Bank at 31 with 77.9 DB score, while Malaysia's DB rank was stood at 12 and scored 81.5. And then looking at the cross-border, the cross-investment accumulated figures in the middle, Malaysian investment in China is still relatively low as compared to Chinese investment in Malaysia. Next. Okay, China is indeed, based on the map, you can see China is indeed a huge market. The consumer environment is far more diverse if we were to compare with Malaysia. The different regions are having different geography, different culture and demographics. So the consumers' preferences, including taste, trend, lifestyle, and purchasing power are also different. On top of that, local distribution networks, buying habits of local consumers, and also regulatory requirements, they can be a great challenge for exporters to do business in China. These factors will help you exporters if you really give focus on these factors to help you to position your products or services in the market in terms of your pricing, your target market, either you want it to be the lower end or mid-range or high-end market. Next. Now looking at Malaysia-China bilateral trade, in year 2021, China has remained as Malaysia's largest trading partner for the past 13 consecutive years, with 18.9% share of total trade. It was expanded by 27% compared to year 2020. Exports rose by 20.6% to 192.05 billion ringgit Malaysia. That was the highest value so far. The expansion was driven by strong exports of manufacturers of metal, E&E products, as well as LNG. And then on the other hand, China was also Malaysia's largest import source, accounting for 23.2% of Malaysia's total imports, picked up by 33% on that year. Main exports were including E&E products, machinery, equipment and parts, as well as chemicals and chemical products. The positive performance that we can see here, it signals the importance of Malaysia in the radar of China's global supply chain amidst the global challenges that we are facing. So it is our hope that we could sustain this positive trend and then to further narrowing the trade deficit between the trade deficit gap that we have with China. Next. Okay, I will take you through a little bit on China economic policies. China's Vision 2035, it involves the country's plan in developing megacities that will help to foster stronger regional trade and investment partnerships with ASEAN, the Belt Road region, and as well as developing economies across the world. The comprehensive plans include economic restructuring and major technological breakthroughs in achieving an advanced standard of living, in creating a green economy and improved environment. So as well as boosting the per capita GDP while reducing the gap between urban and rural society. Hold on, yeah. So in year 2020, 67.1% of Malaysia's exports were to countries that have committed to net zero carbon emission. And China was Malaysia's top export countries, followed by Singapore, US, EU, and Hong Kong. What I'm trying to say here, so these would be the additional important elements that Malaysian exporters should consider when you have the interest to explore or penetrate the market. Next. Okay, in relation to the broad economic policies that I explained just now, the country has invested around 60 billion to support the electric vehicle industry. And this is pushing, and the country is pushing an ambitious plan to transition to all electric or hybrid cars by year 2035. From there are great opportunities available for Malaysian-related products in the sector that we identified. Among of it are semiconductor and integrated circuit, where China's IC gap between demand and supply is still huge. And then radar sensory assembly, which China is still importing. China's top 5 import sources were Japan, Germany, United States, Singapore, and Hungary. And among Malaysian countries, Malaysia ranked as number 2 of import source after Singapore. The other is car battery. In year 2021, last year, China's import of lithium-ion batteries under HS code 850760, it was increased about 31% compared to 2020. And Malaysia was ranked as number 3 import source of China. To share a little bit with you some success story that MATRADE has been done in this sector. Last year, MATRADE Hong Kong, our team connected a deal worth about $10 million sourced by a China company with sales and investment office in Hong Kong. The company is one of the world's largest premium foil manufacturers. It has expanded a complete production chain of aluminium ingots manufacturing for cathode foil. And then they used for lithium batteries for EV manufacturing plant. Then it is certainly a great demand for Malaysian-related players to support China towards this direction on the low carbon emission and renewable energy footprint. Next. Okay, now looking at other product export opportunities to China, yeah, on E&E. China imports more than $300 billion in semiconductors annually, and they hold between 15 to 20% of global semiconductor capacity. China still rely on imports to improve the level of their chip manufacturing. And then on palm-based, China's consumption of palm oil has grown over 240% in the past 2 decades. And this makes China among the top largest consumer of edible oil. This rapid development and changes in the consumer's behavior has also created opportunities for higher usage of palm oil products from oleochemical industry to personal care, cosmetics, cleaning agents, and biofuel production. The versatility and natural characteristic of palm oil, such as it is natural preservative effects, its creamy texture and resilience to high temperatures, making the palm oil products good and ideal for food processing industries. And then palm-based shortening, it has also been discovered as substitute ingredients to beef tallow. So for hot pot cooking, in which is very famous in the western region of China, like Chengdu and Chongqing, very famous of hot pot. MATRADE Chengdu ourselves, last year, we introduced a Malaysian supplier and the palm oil shortening as a substitute product to an importer of beef tallow. and the introduction has been like successfully done and has been materialized as a real deal. Other than that, we also observe there is opportunity for seafood and tropical fruits, where we observe there is huge demand for seafood and tropical fruits, which is tropical fruits from Malaysia is still, I would say, limited in this country, other than durian. And our office have been receiving a lot of inquiries for this. And then on aluminium, the China automotive manufacturing industry, which has reached the pre-COVID-19 levels, means they are back to the track since third quarter 2021. And also the packaging sector, it continues to grow and drives the demand for aluminium. And then rubber base. China, as the world's largest importer and consumer of rubber products, they are consuming around 40% of the total global output. As one of the major automobile manufacturers in the world, China is also increasing. We have also seen an increasing growth of the automobile industry, which has resulted in the increased demand for rubber-based materials. And then LNG, demand for coal to gas, which is expected to continue growing in this year, and this will add to the demand for natural gas too. Average annual increase in natural gas demand is expected to exceed about 20 billion cubic meters and to reach 430 billion cubic meters in year 2025. And then on chemicals, as for chemical, the trend of bitumen imports will also continue to increase. The China government will continue to support the construction of highway network during this 14 5-year plan. So the maintenance of highway, which is like keep on happening, will be a new growth point for the usage of chemicals. Next. Okay, on services, opportunities identified in healthcare tourism, early childhood education, and franchise. MATRADE ourselves, we are working closely with the Malaysia Health Tourism Council, MHTC, in promoting Malaysia as one of the destination of choice and also option for medical treatment among Chinese consumers. This is, we are offering to provide seamless end-to-end patient journey, logistics, and other hospitality arrangement. Among of the focus for treatment for Chinese consumers to Malaysia that we are promoting is the fertility service. And then on education is more on early childhood education, where we saw a few Malaysian homegrown brands like Brain Checker and Global Art. They have been like quite successful in the market. And for franchise, as an example of Malaysian owned brands like Mary Brown, which is very successful in the western part of China. They started their first outlet in China back in 1992. And then focusing on halal fast food chain restaurant, which is, I would say, niche and unique. As of today, they have like expanded and grown. They have more than 30 outlets in China. Next. Next. Okay, next. Okay, now I will take you through about MATRADE and our services. Okay, for your information, maybe not everyone is familiar with MATRADE, which let me take you through in details. MATRADE is a national agency for trade promotion. So our key role is to assist Malaysian exporters to develop and expand your export market, and also to position Malaysia as a globally competitive trading nation. MATRADE, we often be the first reference point for inquiries and visits by foreign importers, because for foreign importers, they are very well known, they are very familiar with the TPOs, and MATRADE is one of the TPOs in the world. And the agency's, MATRADE's role is to match the foreign importers with compatible suppliers or partners from Malaysia who can offer the products and services that they are seeking. So other than that, MATRADE is also overseeing, facilitate and promote Malaysia cross-border investment abroad. Next, O'Neill. Okay. We have 5 regional offices located outside of Klang Valley that provide trade advisory and networking towards the state government and entrepreneurs. So basically our presence in the 5 regional offices is for us to easily outreach to the Malaysian exporters outside the Klang Valley. Next. Okay, on top of that, MATRADE has 46 offices worldwide, where exporters can leverage on services that we provide, such as the trade advisory, connecting with the right importers or distributors, wholesalers and retailers. And also we provide local market information and network. Next. Okay, these are core functions of MATRADE. The four core functions divided into the 4 categories are exporters development, export promotion, trade and market information, as well as trade advisory services. Next. Okay, back. Okay, on export promotion, what do? MATRADE assists Malaysian companies to establish your presence overseas. And we raise your profiles in foreign markets through different promotional drives, including participation in trade missions, export acceleration missions, international trade fairs, and as well as business matching programs. Next. Okay. You don't have the map, yeah? Okay, this one. Okay, this year, I would like to share with you about our promotional programs. This year, throughout the year 2022. But for China market, currently due to the restriction and limitation, on top of what we have been planning, MATRADE is also focusing on virtual programs. This is including online business matching, which we do it one-to-one, and online promotions. Next. Okay. For trade fair and mission in China, we will be coordinating, this is what in plan, we will be coordinating Malaysia participation in the China South Asia Expo, CA Expo, China ASEAN Expo, CIIE, and Cosmoprof Asia in Hong Kong. However, all these are still subject to the local situation in China. For example, for China South Asia Expo, which is scheduled to be held in June in Kunming. This is still pending and we still haven't received new dates announced by the organizer. Well, in September, Malaysia will be the host country of China ASEAN Expo in Nanning. And then for those who are interested to participate in international trade events coordinated by MATRADE, you can submit your application for participation through online application from MATRADE portal. Next. Okay, now moving to exporters development. Okay, MATRADE, we have initiated several programs to assist Malaysian companies to equip yourself with knowledge and skills to meet the challenges in expanding your export market. So these programs include customized programs, training programs, and advisory client services. Okay, this is the summary of the Exporters Development Program for 2022. Let me explain one by one. Okay, among of it are new Exporters Development Program, where MATRADE assists the new exporters, and this program includes the Bumiputra, youth and women-owned businesses. It is a 3-year hand-holding program for these companies. And then we also have a program for mid-tier companies development, where we help the local mid-tier companies in Malaysia to accelerate their export growth and strengthen their core business function. So basically, they have good foundation, is that they need enhancement. So MTCs in Malaysia are defined as companies with annual revenues between 50 million ringgit Malaysia to 500 million ringgit Malaysia. That is for the manufacturing sector. While for the other sector, the definition is between 20 million ringgit Malaysia to 500 million ringgit Malaysia. On top of that, we also have Exit program. Exit is focusing on SMEs located outside of Klang Valley. And then Exporters Training Program, where trainings conducted through webinars such as like this one, the webinar we are having today. This is also part of our Exporters Training Programs. And we have MDG and SEF incentives, financial assistance to partly defray the cost of export promotion by SMEs, while SEF is a grant to assist Malaysian companies obtaining overseas projects. And then we also have a program where we call Business Information Center, BIC. This is basically the business library to obtain market intelligence, where exporters are encouraged to visit and do your research and trade analysis in BIC. We have our librarians that can assist you. And also eTrade 2.0. The grant to encourage businesses to go online, which I will explain in details further. Next, O'Neill. Next. And next. Next. Okay. Okay, this is basically about eTrade, yeah, the enhancement of the original version of eTrade, eTrade program 2.0. This basically the program is to promote the adoption of e-commerce among Malaysian companies to accelerate exports through participation in cross-border e-commerce platforms, and then to enhance the presence of SMEs through digital marketing, e-commerce training, and also online export promotion. Qualified applicant for the eTrade program, you may receive the following financial incentives. It is divided into two. One onboarding scheme and the other one is digital marketing and training scheme. The onboarding scheme, it is for onboarding of any cross-border e-commerce platforms or multiple platforms. And then for digital marketing and training, the MT scheme, it is for undertaking any digital marketing activities and or attending e-commerce training programs. Next. Okay, what are the eligibility criteria for eTrade program 2.0? For companies, you need to be registered with Companies Commission of Malaysia, SSM, while for cooperatives or koperasi, you need to be registered with the Cooperatives Commission of Malaysia, SKM. Okay, then companies, you need to be selling Malaysian products or Malaysian brand, which is registered with the Intellectual Property Corporation of Malaysia, MyIPO. And your company equity is at least 60% owned by Malaysian. For Malaysian SMEs, the definition is your annual sales is less than 50 million ringgit Malaysia, or your full-time employees are less than 200 workers for manufacturing. On the other hand, for trading companies, the annual sales is less than 20 million ringgit Malaysia, or your full-time employees are less than 75 workers. Services companies so far is not eligible for eTrade 2.0. And then to apply eTrade 2.0, your company must be registered with MATRADE as a MATRADE member, and to subscribe to My Export, and to have and you have obtained the Export Readiness Assessment Tool, ARAD score. So you need to do all this before you register as a MATRADE member. You do the ARAD assessment, and this is one of the criteria. And for onboarding scheme, yeah, company registered with SSM or Suruhanjaya Koperasi, SKM, you must be in operation not less than 6 months. Not a mushroom company, means like just pop up and you apply for this scheme, you won't be eligible. And while for digital marketing and training, the MT scheme, company registered with SSM or SKM, you must be in operation not less than 1 year, and company is already selling on cross-border e-commerce platform not less than 1 year. And finally, your company has not participated in the previous eTrade program that was in 2014 to 2022. Next. All right, claimable activities. First, we take a look on onboarding scheme. Listing fee for multiple platforms with maximum of 1 year subscription. And then the requirement for e-commerce platform, it must be a cross-border and has element of export. Going back to the objective of the e-trade is to help you to expand your export through cross-border platforms. And then any activities associated to the onboarding e-commerce platform, but still it is not limited to just this. Development of mini sites, page or store development for photography services, shipping cost to warehouse in overseas, and then rental of warehouse or FBA center. If there are any other expenses associated to the onboarding activities, you can try to submit and apply. It is, however, still subject to MATRADE's approval. Next. Next. Okay, now let's take a look on claimable activities for DMT, for digital marketing expenses. Among of the eligible activities are content creation, search engine optimization, online advertising space rental, hiring key opinion leaders, KOL. In Malaysia, we call it as influencers, yeah. Social media marketing such as WeChat, Weibo, and keywords advertising. Again, if there are any other expenses associated to digital marketing activities, you can apply, then it is subject to MATRADE's approval. Next. Okay, this is among of eligible activities for training program under the DMT scheme. Okay, training program must be organized by e-marketplaces, channel partners, e-commerce service providers, training centers, or government agencies. And then the content of the training related to the e-commerce business, including account management, digital marketing, and fulfillment. On the subsidy, if let's say the training is supported by HRDF or other government agencies, MATRADE will pay the balance that company cannot claim from the first subsidiary. And then number of person, it is not limited. Expenses is claimable for any number of persons per company for the training attended. Next. 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 And next. Okay. There is a requirement after you on board with all these schemes. There is a requirement to provide feedback to MATRADE annually. Yeah? This activity is exercise is to be done annually through an online survey. Why we do this online survey? It is for us to measure the effectiveness of the program and to provide recommendations to the government for future enhancement. And the requirement information for this online survey includes actual export sales in Ringgit Malaysia incurred for the year via the e-commerce platform under the e-trade program 2.0. Companies also need to share with us name of countries or markets you have penetrated through this program, what kind of products exported through e-trade program, as well as status of relisting in the e-commerce platform for the following year. Next. Okay, these are among of the success stories that we would like to share. Through the e-trade program, many companies manage to become first-time exporter and penetrate new markets. Because if they go through conventional export, it will take longer process for them. So 5 main product categories that have been successfully exported through e-trade program. They were F&B, pharmaceutical, toiletries and cosmetics, apparel, garments and accessories, also furniture, building and construction materials and hardware. And then more than 40 markets have been penetrated through this program. So I would say that's why we encourage Malaysian SMEs to take a look on e-trade and to be on board, because this can be a worthwhile alternative for you. It allows the new exporter to sell to overseas consumers while you are getting ready for your future export under the general trade model. Next. Okay, this is our e-trade unit. If you need assistance further and further explanation about e-trade program, you may liaise with the following e-trade officers, my colleagues in HQ. Next. Okay, so basically this is also among of the success stories of the brands through mid-tier companies and e-trade program. Next. Next. Okay. On trade and market information, many do not know how that MATRADE provides a lot of trade and market information that you can fully utilize for your business development. This is one of our role, to disseminate timely and relevant information of market intelligence, because this market intelligence, trade and market information helps Malaysian companies to update and improve your export opportunities. Okay, we do the trade and market information sharing through publications and also through trade statistics. MATRADE publish information on export market opportunities and capabilities of Malaysian manufacturers and service providers. For example, on Malaysian companies' capabilities, and we share through the publication of Exclusive from Malaysia magazine, and this magazine will be disseminated through our worldwide offices. We also provide good guidebooks and market alerts. These market alerts is normally an updates on the current policy changes or market opportunities abroad. And then on trade statistic, you can also obtain this trade statistic, as I mentioned earlier, in our library, MATRADE Business Information Center. Next. Okay, this is the BIC. We have many choices for you to do your research. Please go and utilize it. For companies that registered with MATRADE, you have free access to our BIC. Next. Okay, my export. Back. Okay, my export. My export is an online service for Malaysian exporters registered with MATRADE. Means once you have been registered with MATRADE, you can have access to my export. The login of my export online. From here, you can obtain all the market intelligence and information that I have mentioned earlier. Next. Okay, this is MATRADE portal. Please go through our portal. There's so much of information that you can obtain from our portal. Next. Our trade advisory service. It is located in level 2 of MATRADE HQ. Next. This is the ERAT that I mentioned earlier. This is to help you to assess your export readiness. So when you do this ERAT, there are 23 questions with 2 categories consisting of company and product category. Next. MATRADE, for you to apply as a MATRADE member, you can do it online. Next. This is MEEC. MEEC, for those who are not familiar with MATRADE, you can come and visit. It is at level 2 of Menara MATRADE in Kuala Lumpur. It is a permanent physical exhibition located at MATRADE's building in KL, where every year we would have like 200 Malaysian products and services showcased. This is actually a one-stop center for our international buyers, because MATRADE, we receive international buyers visiting MATRADE office before the pandemic, and now the border is open, we do receive, and whenever we have programs and the buyers are in office, we will take them to visit MEEC. Okay, next. So these are our MATRADE offices in China, 4 in mainland and 1 in Hong Kong. So I encourage Malaysian exporters to keep in touch with us for assistance. I think with that, thank you.